Good morning. This is Kent Blaylock with SDG Bible Study. That's the SOLI DEO GLORIA Bible Study coming to you on this Friday morning, March the 14th, 2025. I hope everyone is doing well as we're closing out this work week. And I hope you're ready to be getting into the reading of God's Word this morning as we continue in the Daily Devotional Everyday Gospel by Paul David Tripp. We're going to be in 4 chapters in the biblical text this morning. We'll begin in Joshua chapter 12, reading through chapter 15. So join me as we read God's Word together. Joshua chapter 12. Now these are the kings of the land whom the sons of Israel struck down, and whose land they possessed beyond the Jordan to the east toward the sunrise, from the valley of the Arnon as far as Mount Hermon, and all the Arabah to the east. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon and ruled from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, both the middle of the valley and half of Gilead, even as far as the brook Jabbok, the border of the sons of Ammon, and the Arabah as far as the sea of Chinneroth toward the east, and as far as the sea of the Arabah, even the salt sea, eastward toward Beth Jeshimoth, and on the south at the foot of the slopes of Pisgah, and the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the remnant of the Rephaim, who lived at Ashtaroth and at Idri, and ruled over Mount Hermon and Salakah and all Bashan, as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maacathites, and half of Gilead, and as far as the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the sons of Israel struck them down, and Moses, the servant of Yahweh, gave it to the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh as a possession. Now these are the kings of the land whom Joshua and the sons of Israel struck down beyond the Jordan toward the west, from Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, even as far as Mount Halak, which rises toward Seir. And Joshua gave it to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their divisions, in the hill country, and in the Shephelah, and in the Arabah, and on the slopes, and in the wilderness, and in the Negev, the Hittite, the Amorite, and the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Deber, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tappuah, 1. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1. The king of Shimron Meron, 1. The king of Akshaph, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Kedesh, 1. The king of Jokneam in Carmel, 1. The king of Dor in the heights of Dor, 1. The king of Goim in Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. In all, 31 kings. Now to chapter 13. Now Joshua was old, advanced in years, and Yahweh said to him, You are old, advanced in years, and very much of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the region of the Philistines and all those of the Geshurites, from the Shihor, which is east of Egypt, even as far as the border of Ekron to the north, it is counted as Canaanite. The 5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazite, the Ashdodite, the Ashkelonite, the Gittite, the Ekronite, and the Avite. To the south, all the lands of the Canaanite, and Mirah that belongs to the Sidonians as far as Aphek, to the border of the Amorite, and the land of the Gibeonite, and all of Lebanon, to the east toward the sunrise, from Baal Gad, below Mount Hermon, as far as Lebo Hamath. All the inhabitants of the hill country, from Lebanon as far as Mesbrahoth Maim, all the Sidonians, I will dispossess them from before the sons of Israel. Only allot it to Israel for an inheritance, as I have commanded you. So now apportion this land for an inheritance to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh. With the other half-tribe, the Reubenites and the Gadites received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses, the servant of Yahweh, gave to them, from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, with the city which is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain of Medeba, as far as Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, as far as the border of the sons of Ammon, and Gilead, and the territory of the Geshurites and the Maacathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan, as far as Salakah. All the kingdom of Og and Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and in Idri, he alone remained of the remnant of the Rephaim, for Moses struck them and dispossessed them. But the sons of Israel did not dispossess the Geshurites or the Maacathites, so Geshur and Maacath live among Israel until this day. Only the tribe of Levi he did not give an inheritance. The offerings by fire to Yahweh, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he spoke to them. So Moses gave an inheritance to the tribe of the sons of Reuben according to their families. And their territory was from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, with the city which is in the middle of the valley, and all the plain of Medeba, Heshbon and all its cities which are on the plain, Dibon and Bamoth Baal and Beth Baal Meon, and Jahaz and Kedemoth and Mephath, and Kiriathim and Sibmah and Zerah Shahar on the hill of the valley, and Beth Peor and the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, even all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses struck with the leaders of Midian, Evi and Rechem and Zur and Hur and Reba, the princes of Sihon, who lived in the land. The sons of Israel also killed Balaam the son of Beor, the diviner, with a sword among the rest of their slain. And the border of the sons of Reuben was the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the sons of Reuben, according to their families, the cities and their villages. Moses also gave an inheritance to the tribe of Gad, the sons of Gad, according to their families. And their territory was Jazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the sons of Ammon, as far as Aroer, which is before Reba, and from Heshbon as far as Ramoth Mizpah, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim as far as the border of Debir, and in the valley Beth Haram and Beth Nimrah and Succoth and Zaphon, the rest of the kingdom of Sihon, king of Heshbon, with the Jordan as a border, as far as the lower end of the sea of Chinnereth, beyond the Jordan to the east. This is the inheritance of the sons of Gad, according to their families, the cities and their villages. Moses also gave an inheritance to the half-tribe of Manasseh, and it was for the half-tribe of the sons of Manasseh according to their families. And their territory was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and all of Havoth-Jair, which are in Bashan, 60 cities, also half of Gilead, with Ashtaroth and Idri, the cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan, where the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, for the half of the sons of Machir, were for the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir, according to their families. These are the territories which Moses apportioned for an inheritance in the plains of Moab, beyond the Jordan, at Jericho to the east. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses did not give an inheritance. Yahweh, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he had promised to them. Now to chapter 14. Now these are the territories which the sons of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the households of the tribes of the sons of Israel apportioned to them for an inheritance, by the lot of their inheritance, as Yahweh commanded by the hand of Moses, for the 9 tribes and the half tribe. For Moses had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes and the half tribe beyond the Jordan, but he did not give an inheritance to the Levites among them. For the sons of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim, and they did not give a portion to the Levites in the land except cities to live in, with their pasture lands for their livestock and for their property. Thus the sons of Israel did just as Yahweh had commanded Moses, and they divided the land. Then the sons of Judah drew near to Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite said to him, "You know the word which Yahweh spoke to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of Yahweh, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought word back to him as it was in my heart. Nevertheless, my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt with fear, but I followed Yahweh my God fully. So Moses swore on that day, saying, Surely the land on which your foot has trodden will be an inheritance to you and to your children forever, because you have followed Yahweh my God fully. So now, behold, Yahweh has let me live just as he spoke these 45 years from the time that Yahweh spoke this word to Moses when Israel walked in the wilderness. So now, behold, I am 85 years old today. I am still as strong today as I was in the day Moses sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now, for war and for going out and coming in. So now, give me this hill country about which Yahweh spoke on that day. For you heard on that day that Anakim were there, with great fortified cities. Perhaps Yahweh will be with me, and I will dispossess them as Yahweh has spoken." So Joshua blessed him and gave Hebron to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, for an inheritance. Therefore Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, until this day, because he fully followed Yahweh, the God of Israel. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba, for Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim. Then the land was quiet from war. Now to chapter 15. Now the lot for the tribe of the sons of Judah, according to their families, reached the border of Edom, southward to the wilderness of Zin, as far at the far end toward the south. And their south border was from the lower end of the Salt Sea, from the bay that turns to the south. Then it went out southward to the ascent of Akrabim, and passed on to Zin, and went up by the south of Kadesh Barnea, and continued to Hezron, and went up to Adar, and turned about to Karka. And it passed on to Asmon, and went out to the brook of Egypt, and the border ended at the sea. This shall be your south border. And the east border was the Salt Sea, as far as the mouth of the Jordan. And the border of the north side was from the bay of the sea at the mouth of the Jordan. Then the border went up to Beth Hagla, and passed by on the north of Beth Araba. And the border went up to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben. Then the border went up to Deber from the valley of Achor, and turned northward toward Gilgal, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, which is on the south of the valley. And the border continued to the waters of En Shemesh, and it ended at En Rogel. Then the border went up the valley of Ben Hinnom to the slope of the Jebusite on the south, that is, Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain, which is before the valley of Hinnom, to the west, which is at the end of the valley of Rephaim, toward the north. From the top of the mountain, the border curved to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, and proceeded to the cities of Mount Ephron. Then the border curved to Bela, that is, Kiriath Jearim. Then the border turned about from Bela westward to Mount Seir, and continued to the slope of Mount Jearim on the north, that is, Chesalon, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and continued through Timnah. Then the border went out to the side of Ekron northward. Then the border curved to Shekeron, and passed on to Mount Bela, and went out to Jebneel, and the border ended at the sea. And the west border was at the great sea, even its coastline. This is the border around the sons of Judah according to their families. Now he gave to Caleb the son of Jephunneh a portion among the sons of Judah, according to the command of Yahweh to Joshua, namely Kiriath Arba, Arba being the father of Anak, that is Hebron. And Caleb dispossessed from there the three sons of Anak, Sheshai and Ahiman and Talmai, the children of Anak. Then he went up from there against the inhabitants of Debir. Now the name of Debir formerly was Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, the one who strikes down Kiriath Sepher and captures it, I will give him Axa, my daughter, as a wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, captured it. So he gave him Axa, his daughter, as a wife. Now it happened that when she came to him, she enticed him to ask her father for a field. So she alighted from the donkey, and Caleb said to her, What do you want? Then she said, Give me a blessing, since you have given me the land of the Negev. Give me also springs of water. So he gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribes of the sons of Judah, according to their families. Now the cities at the far end of the tribes of the sons of Judah turned toward the border of Edom in the south were Kabzeel and Eder and Jagur and Kena and Dimona and Adada and Kedesh and Hazor and Ithnan, Ziph and Talem and Bealoth and Hazor Hadattah and Kiriath Hezron, that is Hazor, Amam and Shema and Moladah and Hazor Gada and Heshmon and Beth Pelet and Hazar Shul and Beersheba and Biziathia, Bela and Aim and Azim and Elatalad and Shezil and Hormah and Ziklag and Madmanah and Sansana and Libioth and Shillam and Ain and Rimmon, in all 29 cities with their villages. In the Shephelah, Eshtaol and Zorah and Ashna and Zanoah and En Ganim, Tapua and Enam, Jarmuth and Adullam, Soka and Azekah, and Sheraim and Adathaim and Gederathaim, 14 cities with their villages, Zanan and Hadashah and Migdal, Gad and Dileen and Mizpah and Joktheel, Lachish and Bozkath and Eglon, and Kaban and Lamas and Chitlish and Jederoth, Beth Dagon and Naamah and Makkedah, 16 cities with their villages, Libnah and Ether and Ashan, and Iphta and Ashnan and Nazib, and Keilah and Akzib and Marashah, 9 cities with their villages, Ekron with its towns and its villages. From Ekron even to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod with their villages, Ashdod, its towns and its villages, Gaza, its towns and its villages, as far as the brook of Egypt and the great sea, even its coastline. And in the hill country, Shamer and Jader and Soka, and Dana and Kiriasana, that is Debir, and Anab and Eshtemoth and Eshtemoa and Anim and Goshen and Holan and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages, Arab and Duma and Eshan, and Janum and Beth Tapua and Afka, and Hamuth and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities in their villages, Maon, Carmel, and Ziph, and Judah, and Jezreel, and Jokdeam, and Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages, Halhul, Bethzur, and Gedor, and Marath, and Beth Anoth, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their villages, Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Reba, 2 cities with their villages, in the wilderness, Beth Araba, Midden, and Sekaka, and Nibshan, and the city of Salt, and En Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. Now as for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the sons of Judah could not dispossess them. So the Jebusites live with the sons of Judah at Jerusalem until this day. That's going to conclude our reading from the biblical text. Now our devotional reading. In times that you wonder what God is doing, it is important to remember that He will unleash His power for the defense, protection, and guidance of His children. We all go through times when God seems distant, passive, and maybe even uncaring. In these moments, we can be tempted to believe that God has forgotten His promises to us, or even worse, has forgotten us. We may even get to the point at which we wonder whether God is who He declared Himself to be. In our fear, discouragement, and doubt, we may begin to wander away from Him. We may begin to let go of habits of personal devotion and prayer, wondering what good they do. When we're in a spiritual desert or experiencing a dark night of the soul, we are susceptible to hearing the lie of the enemy, as Adam and Eve did in the garden. It is always the same lie. There is something better out there than trusting, worshiping, and obeying the Lord. I am deeply persuaded that biblical history and what it reveals of the glory of God's character, plan, and work on behalf of His people is designed to speak with wisdom and hope when we are about to lose hope. In those moments, we need a fresh vision of the glory of God working on behalf of His people. When God's glory is clouded, we all need something that will break through the clouds. Joshua 12 is that kind of cloud bursting passage. Stand back and take time to consider what it says about the power of God and His work for His people. And these are the kings of the land whom Joshua and the people of Israel defeated on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon, to Mount Halak that rises towards Seir. And Joshua gave their land to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their allotments. The king of Jericho won. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, won. The king of Jerusalem won. The king of Hebron won. The king of Jarmuth won. The king of Lachish won. The king of Eglon won. The king of Gezer won. The king of Debir won. The king of Geder won. The king of Hormah won. The king of Arad won. The king of Libnah won. The king of Adullam won. The king of Makkedah won. The king of Bethel won. The king of Tappuah won. The king of Hepher won. The king of Aphek won. The king of Lasharon won. Joshua chapter 12, verse 7, and then 9 through 18. You may be thinking, Paul, what in the world does this have to do with the hard thing I'm facing right now? This passage should blow your mind and fill your heart with hope. King after king after king was defeated, not by Joshua and the Israelite army alone, but by the power of God. God will do whatever is necessary in His almighty power to provide for, protect, and defeat the enemies of His people. The ultimate example of this is Jesus, who came in divine power to defeat the ultimate enemies of sin and death and is fighting now for you. That's going to conclude our reading this morning. I hope you are trusting in and understanding the power of God in your life. In those times when He seems to not be there, to be distant and uncaring, He is there. Trust in Him today. Hope you'll trust Him with this day. Take it a day at a time. Trust God today, and tomorrow will take care of itself. Hope you have a blessed day. Soli Deo Gloria.